Hi. Start date 11/03/2017. So I'm getting the hang of this live stream app, but it definitely has some progression to make. I will be generating this to YouTube Live in a second. Or it's actually going there now, but I don't know if it's actually doing any good or not. Momentarily, I'll be, I think, sending this message out to a bunch of people, but I don't know. We'll try that in a second. It was supposed to go, and I had the message already, and then looks like I doused the message, so we'll see. In the meantime, let's see what's doing in YouTube. Looks like I'm live, so one minute into my live stream, and there was a way. I better rename this. Friday vlog 11/03/2017. Obviously, I don't want to do all these things just before I stream live and invite people. So there's got to be a better way. And the light stream has told me that they will have some that things will work that out. So I'm going to be able to figure this out in a little bit. Server URL. Okay. You see I can see the live stream in my website, but also I think the way I have to do this is go to my video manager on my front page and actually see my channel and then grab the page from there. So let's do that. We're going to YouTube. And be sure to tell me if you find me before I planned all this information purposely to the universe. So I'm going to my channel. My channel shows the video right there. It says live now. So if I go to this page, and now I can grab this production, go to my website, and enter the information in the event construct that I have in the VCP plugin. And then it's a lot of hassle. And obviously you're not going to want to do this while you're live normally. However, it's just good to know it works. So if we get the URL before time, before going live in the future, which Lightstream has guaranteed me that they're building that in, then we'll be able to produce the event page differently so that we can actually go live stream, and then it'll immediately, or with a short amount of sidestepping, produce the video in my website. So let's see. So it's actually streaming now, and now I'm going to go to invite some people. Now, I had it all set up to invite people, but now it's gone. So I'm setting that up again. I'm selecting just a few people I know. And if you get this invitation, you certainly do not have to join me, but you're welcome to if you'd like. So bear with me a few more minutes. I'm going to invite some other people. That way, if you want to ask me questions or something, you can do that, but you certainly don't have to. And if you don't join me, it's absolutely fine. A few of you may, and I appreciate that. So um, there we go. Now I've got the group lined up into a group, a few people. Now if I write you a message, and actually, I don't want to put the YouTube link in there. I want to put the event from my website into my comment stream for the group that I just selected and say, please join me if you like for a casual chat. Roland's Friday vlog decompression expression session. So you might get to see how fast I type, which isn't very fast, but that's fun anyway. So that's posted, and you never know, some people may show up. So what is this all about? I'm going to go back to my light stream production here so I can see myself live and what I'm generating to my website. And also I'll grab my website page and put it over where I can see what's going on, because this way if people comment, I can actually respond and so forth. So if I don't type a response, what I'm able to do is at least answer your questions or comment or acknowledge you in the video right here, and that's the main thing. So anyway, let's say greetings to anyone who joins me Okay, so there's my comment there, and of course you won't be in the video, but you never know, somebody might come in and comment, and I'll see it there and hopefully be able to respond and say hi or acknowledge that you visited. Hey, there's Weewake. Hi, Weewake. Thank you very much for being good about following up and giving me some feedback, because this way I know it's working properly. And although there's, let's see, how much time last? Let me take a look. So it took all of 8 minutes or so for me to set it up in Lightstream, start the broadcast, go to YouTube, find the URL through various manipulations, see it on the page that's being generated, and then literally take all that and go to my website, which I had somewhat preset. As you can see, if you're on my page, I've got a lower banner below the event. I've got a little bit of a layout in the green room with notes about what I was going to talk about. So there are a few things to note in the process. This is a very nice facilitator, and it may in the future replace Hangouts on Air. But right now, a couple of problems with it is that you can't get the URL before you go live. So obviously, it took me 8 minutes. I could get faster at that. I could have everything pre-designed and all set up so that I can just cut and paste stuff. But it'll still take got the hiccups. It'll still take 3 or 4 minutes. But your comments would be welcome if you feel that the sound is better or worse than Hangouts, or the video. Well, the video is going to be kind of bad right now because the lighting is hitting me in the wrong place, and I've got a beam of light hitting me directly. And of course, I usually try to avoid that. But at any rate, it's all set up roughly the way that I would try to. Now I'm going to add something here and show you that there's something that's pretty neat that I could actually add to the production, and that is the lower third. So let me get it. Put it in place. Bring it to the front. Because we want it on the front of the video. Then I'll resize it, and then I'll send it to the live stream so that the changes take place there. Okay, so now what you're going to see is that I send a lower third to the broadcast, and so they're updating the stream right now. And now you should, in the next couple sets, there it is. I see it in the broadcast. So what we do in the Hangouts on Air facilitator, we can actually add the lower thirds, more of a manual thing. But if you're setting it up in advance, you can give everybody a lower third. And this is not the kind of situation where the camera's changed according to the person talking. What it is more like is like you set up your scene so that everybody will be on the screen at one shot. So the scene, if I had a guest, we would have our cameras feed going side by side, and they would never leave the screen, theoretically. So the lower thirds would be superimposed per camera feed in each of the situations. So these are different laminations that I would make before going live and then leave it like that. They would be in one position during the course of an interview or something. And there's also a possibility, and I'll see whether this works. If I switch, tell me, by the way, can you hear me, We Wake? I don't even know if my sound is coming out. Let me see if I can monitor that. Yeah, I think the sound is coming through, so you should be able to hear me. I'm not going to mess around with the scene today. There's too much experimenting. There's more to be done, though, to find out how to use Lightstream and how to get the best effects out of the Lightstream facility. And when we get that figured out, I think it's going to be really of value. And we may find that it takes the place of Hangouts on Air. So we will see. I'm going to refresh my comments. I see that We Wake, you made a couple more comments. Let's see. Oh, he's got a bunch of stuff out here. Let's see. I want to go back and read as much as I can. He said hello. And then he says, well, we had all that hoo-ha with Blab, and then it died. Yeah, you're right. And you never know, this might die, but I don't think so. And the reason is that this facilitator, Lightstream or GoLightstream.com, has been very popular with gamers. They love this facility. And of course, they're better at it than I am, so I could probably learn a lot from them. But the thing is, Blab has its own agenda. And although Lightstream has its own agenda, it does not conflict with what I'm trying to do. So I'm not subject to the politics of what they're trying to achieve and what they want to achieve. I'm just using a facility, and that's basically a type of a version of a platform that replaces OBS. In my case, it would be a replacement concept for OBS. Is it simple to use or complicated? It's reasonably simple, I gotta say. It's all about a selective implementation and a drag and drop feature, and resizing is just the way you would do it. Basically, in like Google Slides, if you want to make something bigger or smaller, including the camera feed, you simply grab a corner of the feature and then resize it just by dragging and dropping. So it's a reasonably pretty easy. Thank you if you can hear me. My lower third is fuzzy. That's good to know. And it's probably if I am going to be better at that, I probably need to experiment and resize the lower third to be accurate transfer from my desktop and what I produce to be implemented into the video. I don't know what the best sizing is yet. In most of the other facilitators, I have researched it to find out at least a good sizing that works to get a decent effect in the production. But of course, all these things take time to develop, and also the bigger image you put in there, the more resources you're using. So I try to keep it reasonably streamlined by keeping the images smaller and so forth. So those are a couple of things. Thank you for the questions, though. Those are very good questions. Anyway. So anyway, yeah, I hope some other people may join you. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know where they are or whether they're going to join us, but we'll see. And you're welcome to join in. I see there are a couple of people playing in the Google chat, and Barbara DeLuccio asked what time. Now, live streaming. And maybe Andy might come in, Jay might come in, but we'll see what happens. I'll be monitoring the webpage to see if you join WeWake in there. And Andy can't make it. He's doing a little something. That's quite all right. So this is my Friday vlog. I'm unofficially calling it the decompression expression session, just because it's kind of fun. And that'll be what I call it for now. Something that was kind of cool. I've been looking over the internet, and I'm shopping at Amazon and various places. And of course, Amazon, I told you, was a really good place to do your shopping if you're homebound. So I got a 24-pack of ProCell, basically 6 of these, 4 packs, so a 24-pack box of ProCell Duracell batteries. And I got them for $12. So if you shop around on Amazon, you can get some really good prices. So I got 24 AA's for $12. And then I looked around and I found a package of 10 AA's for $2.50. So I'm the ruthless bargain shopper. So that was kind of a nice thing. I had my first Blogspot interview today, and I'm getting a ping somewhere. Let's see. Can't really tell, so I'll let that go. But yeah, it is. It's really not as complex as OBS. It does a lot of the same stuff, but it doesn't require a lot of the learning curve that OBS starts with. They're much simpler in a lot of respects. So you ought to try it and play around with it. I produced this kind of a setup. This is actually my original backdrop with the min-max media and my logos up there. I did that in 5 minutes and created the backdrop. So it can be pretty fast depending upon what you're trying to produce. But anyway, I had my first Blogspot interview with Hollis Chapman today. I didn't interview him. he interviewed me, and I appeared on the Hollis Chapman show, and it was a real kick. The guy is a good interviewer, has his perspective, which was basically to present people who bring value to his constituents or to his listening audience. And so I got to talk about live streaming. I had dropped a couple of big names, so yeah, it's a good idea to do that if it's legitimate. And my legitimacy was not that I met so and so or they endorsed me, but I said so and so says, and I dropped a couple of big names like Ted Rubin and Simon Sinek. But I mean, at least they know that I'm well read, at least well versed on some of the things flowing in my industry. But the interview was great, and Hollis Chapman hailed me as an expert, which is kind of a funny name. If you're an expert, you're an X. So do I want to be an expert? I'm not so sure I want to be an expert, but I'm an X. But for him, I'm an expert, and that's fine. That worked out. So he's basically touting me as an authority and then a professional in my field. And he at least said live that I brought a lot of value and a lot of valuable hints and clues and concepts to the table today. So I'm real happy about that. That was a lot of fun. So when it comes to broadcasting, you know that I don't really believe in the word broadcasting anymore. I try to use the name webcasting or streamcasting. What do you people think the new name for broadcasting would be? For one thing, I'm not broadcasting, I'm narrowcasting, right? But differently than that, just the concept, whether I've got a broad audience or a narrow audience, I am casting of some kind. So the only thing I can think of was webcasting and streamcasting. I don't really like that. So what do you people think? If you want to suggest a couple ideas to me and tell me what you think the new term should be to take the place of broadcasting, because I'm over broadcasting. What am I using all these batteries for? Well, for one thing, my battery-powered Logitech mouse is on, I forget to turn it off, so it's 24/7. I figured if I turned it on and off every day, the button would go out. Then I have to replace the entire mouse pad, right? So, hi, Jay. How you doing? Looks like I'm just in time for the ProCell battery giveaway. Not even. But if you're really, really hurting, I'll order you a pack, or I'll even send you one of these. I've got about 5 more of these 4-packs. 4 times 6 is 21. Yeah, these ought to last me the rest of the year, and that's 2018. But there are different things we're experimenting with, sound and stuff like that. Putting my wife to sleep with a headset, and so I revived my old MP3 player, and if anyone could tell me how to use this thing, I'd love an instructional, because it didn't come with any. And so we're going to be playing with that soon. And if we get the right music for her, I think it'll help her sleep. So we got one of these face masks with the speakers built into the ears, and we're going to give that a test and see if it helps her sleep. Live casting is a good one. I like that. So I'm glad we got that recorded, and that's a possibility, Jay. That's nice. So hi, Barbara. Barbara's out there, Barbara DeLuccio, and I thank you for showing up. And comment away or tell me what you're thinking. If you have another name for broadcasting that makes sense. I really don't like the name broadcasting, so I will be adapting to some various changes in the field and giving some key things different names. And broadcasting is one of them. Just feels derogatory and is way too limiting. And to me, it talks about one-way casting at the people, which is another form of advertising. And you know how I feel about advertising. So that's got to go. So eventually we'll come up with a better name for that. And people feel free to throw out some ideas. But that's one thing. I was reading, Paulo Coelho is one of my favorite authors. He's got some good stuff. But I was just alerted to the fact that he had a quote that I wasn't aware of. And the quote is basically, people never learn by telling them. They have to experience it themselves. And that was like, you bet. I believe that totally, 100%. So basically, that's why in live streaming and the concept of Saturday morning marketing smarties and everything that I do to promote the learning thereof is to get people to get a camera, get a mic, and express yourselves. Learn how to express yourself. And even if it's not of that high quality, get started, learn how to do it. And as you progress, you'll get a better mic, you'll get a better camera, you'll get a better computer maybe. But as things improve, you get better and better at it. But the main thing is that you get over the fear of saying, I can't. And that's just not a part of my dialogue or my philosophy. So when I was in my radio blogspot radio broadcast today, one of the things the guy asked me about was intention and desire. And I brought up the fact that, I'm half paralyzed in my body and I'm in a wheelchair. I really never leaned on that as part of my story. I might in the future, I don't know. But I mean, I don't feel that it's legitimately something that I have to bring up in order to get across my message. On the other hand, it's an attention getter that's going to shock people and say, oh my God, he's in a wheelchair. I didn't know that. I thought he just sat crooked because that was his style. And he goes leaning off the page sometimes. But I mean, no, the reason is that my right side, it malfunctions. And plus I'm left-handed only. So I do all my typing and all my adjusting and I reach for stuff. It's all my left hand. And so inevitably, if I'm watching TV, I might sit more straight. But if I'm working at the computer, I do lean this way. So that's just like the way I'm rolling, Spellcasting, oh, that's derogatory. Wake. Spellcasting, in other words, I'm going to look into my eyes and I'm going to cast this spell over there. Yeah, I know you're just joking. Thank you. He just read a Twitter comment on U.S. politics by the Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling. And that's interesting because I was thinking today, I hope this guy doesn't ask me about politics. And one of the things that I said to him was that done trumps perfect. In other words, it's obviously, right? Done trumps perfect. And I said, that's not a presidential reference at all. And then he kind of cracked up about that. I'm glad I got this guy to laugh. But it wasn't. It was basically saying done beats perfect any day of the week. And nowadays, perfect does not improve your company's branding. Perfect very seldom contributes to your company branding. Imperfect or partially perfect or near perfect has more of a humanistic element to it that people are more used to and forgiving. A little bit of forgiveness goes a long way. When you ask the people, sorry, this isn't perfect, but I just did this on the fly, that's a lot better than them coming on and watching you and seeing a video that's perfectly polished, perfect lighting, costs a few $1,000s to produce, and doesn't give them a chance to talk back at you. One of the live streaming best features is the fact that if someone disagrees with you on the spot, they can disagree with you on the spot, talk to you, put the comments in the stream, and then you could bring it into the conversation and say, hey, I hear what you're saying, man. Can you please elaborate on what you're saying? And then we'll discuss it. And then actually, if they give you some ideas, you can actually talk about it live and it brings people into the conversation, which is even compounded with the fact that we can display the comments on screen now, and that makes it even better. So anyway, let's see. Let's see if there's any more recent stuff going on. Thank you for joining me. Since you did join me, I wanted to make sure I'm paying attention to you out there. So anyway, Chatcast. That's there. There's one. Chatcast. Very nice. It has a good sizing to it. Chatcast. CC. I'm going to CC everybody today on my message. So that was a cool one. I looked up another term. I learned a term, and it had to do with more of the market for employment and employees. And one of the things that people are doing, they're looking for and training a new kind of employee that's becoming more prolific. Part of this comes from the consciousness that the internet and marketing is taking such a different twist. So instead of having marketing specialists or advertising agents and that stuff, people have what is called, let me go find it. Oh, it's on my list. IT versatilist. Now, an IT versatilist, an internet technology versatilist. And I believe I'm pronouncing that correct. And then the term basically implies an internet technician who is versatile. Now, the reason for that is that, number one, the internet's changing all the time, so that the people that they hire into a working situation for a company has to flow with the times and adapt to new learning, maybe on a yearly, maybe on a daily basis, and do something new, something different, and be able to reach out with a little bit of incentive and be inspired to bring that into their job and use it to affect the outcome of the company, and not just follow the A, B's, and C's of a position or something. So an IT versatilist implies that you're going to be flexible and dynamic and inventive, creative, and be able to affect the company with more of your attitude and more of the things that you think and do, and you're actually a brain accomplishing some things, not just a person doing a job for the boss. And to me, that makes a whole lot of sense. So in a way, we should all be versatilists, right? Well, for me, that sinks home because when I was 15 years old, I decided that the thing I recognized about the world was that everything's changing all the time. Nothing stays the same. Now, I shock myself when I say that. I figured that out when I was 15 years old, but I distinctly remember at age 15, I knew that everything changes, nothing stays the same. And that's kind of a profound view of the universe. And I'm proud to say I had it when I was 15. So from that age on, I tried to mold my consciousness around the concept of learning everything that I could, becoming a sponge for learning, and adapting constantly to what my understanding encompassed. So second half player in my life, here I am in the second half, or maybe the last 1/3 or whatever it is. Even if it's the last 1/3, I'll be happy with that. But everything that I learned up until now has changed and molded what it is I'm doing from now until the end of my life. And I'm discovering things, I saw that Jay was mentioning my plugin. I'll get to that in just a moment, and we'll discuss that briefly, because there are developments and some interesting things going on, really interesting things. But anyway, let's see, before I go on, don't want to miss what Wewek's saying. One of the things that I have seen is all these commentators talk about the president and criticize him for being undemocratic, but he is a businessman. Show me a business that is, read more, that is run using democratic principles. None. So since no business is run democratically, handing over democratic powers to a businessman, tycoon, results in business-like situation. Democracy takes democracy takes backseat. It's a really, really good point, Wei. And I don't think that there's too much democracy in the general idea of system and commerce and capitalism in general. But the way I want to run my life is more democratically. Even though I say that, there's still Roland in his opinion, right? Because for my life and for what I influence, I still have to revert back to my own personal opinion, my beliefs, what I stand for. And that's all any of us can do. So hopefully we'll get a close enough consensus with a group of people that we can move in a similar direction as we go. So now to wrap up the day, the plugin. The plugin has made a few changes. I've developed a new logo for it, so it shows a better thumbnail in the WordPress directory. And I've changed the description a bit because I really wanted to emphasize events, VCP events plugin, and the ability to create an interactive, engaging event. And potentially the most interactive, engaging event that you can possibly produce online, and most certainly for a free price tag, it's got to be up there. So there are a lot of these things going on. So the lesson is not not elect a businessman. I don't know if you can anymore, Andy. I guess it's possible, but I just don't know for sure. But anyway, the VCP plugin is getting some exposure. I don't have a lot of downloads yet, but that's okay. And the idea is I've got people that are contacting me that are saying, wait a minute, your plugin does what? And so that concept by itself, I know more and more people will be asking me, wait a minute, it does what? Are you telling me like about 6 months ago, Tim and I were chatting digitally, and he came across and was messaging me and saying, wait a minute, do you mean that your plugin will allow me to live stream my YouTube stuff in my website? And I said, yes. And a light bulb went off over his head. So he's been my comment tracker or my comment wrangler since then, developed into that position. And he's going to be planning some classes that perhaps using my plugin enables him to even have a better class than he would have. So we'll see if Hangouts does that for him or not. But anyway, that's the movement as it goes. And VCP plugin might be very, very, very popular if the concept of, number one, having a WordPress website, number two, wanting to stream live to your own website. If those things get married and the concept becomes viable, where people start asking, I've got a WordPress website, I want to stream live, how do I do it? And if I can get my stuff to show up as a result of that question and query, then I'm going to have something. In the meantime, there are people with companies that are starting to ask me about it who have thousands of constituents. And this is the bigger nut to crack. Because if I sell the concept, if conceptually someone comes along and says, wait a minute, with this plugin, I could do this or I could do that, and expands the concept of what they feel they can do. If I can provide them something that's cost effective, and you can't get any much more cost effective than zero, if I get this to them and they say, well, with that we can do this, which is more than I can do without it, then I've got something. And what I'm hoping to do is to show these people that not only do I have the plugin that builds the components together to allow something to happen, but actually also I bring instruction to the table. So most people, when I start giving them one-on-one instruction and we sit down and we go through a session, I've got the 6-episode session course, and I've got the 2-hour crash course that I offer. When I tell them all the stuff that I give during either of the courses. We get done and they go, "Oh my God, there was value there. Things that I didn't know, things that I'm going to be able to use immediately. It's going to change my outlook." And then here's the thing: you can have a goal and want to do something, but as soon as you educate yourself, the way you go about doing it, and sometimes your focus of what you're doing changes. It changes when you see, because it makes you realize a few things. Number one, how the people are receiving on the audience end. You're not just broadcasting, you're integrating a conversation that allows some feedback, and to see that you've got live people responding and reacting to what you're delivering. So when you start seeing the concept there, you realize that you're not alone. You're not just the person on the other side of the camera doing this by yourself or trying to produce the best video you can with the least amount of mistakes. You're actually conveying a message that we want to drill into the minds and the hearts of people and get a message across and deliver value. So when we change the view of what's going on there, people realize there is so much more to this than just learning how to push the buttons and do A, B, C, D. And so hopefully what this will do is get me students for live streaming to not only learn the tools, but also including the best practices and protocols and maybe a few good manners. Well, from Roland's book. And speaking of which, I know that this is all going to lead to me writing a book in the near future, because I've got so much going on in my brain that I think I can consolidate it into a nice concept. A lot of teaching right now, and I realize I sit down and work with people. That's potentially a chapter in the book. So I'm repurposing now conceptually. We'll see what happens. So I'm about to wrap this up, and I'm just doing a last check to see who might be here. Because I don't want to. Hi, Roz. Hello, Roz Bounty. Nice to see you. And you've been with me on the last about a month of Fridays. Let's see, what did she say here? Found it to get here at last. So let me know how I could help you find it easier. If you found it at last, how could I have gotten you here at the very start? I basically tried to send you a link to this VCP events page of my website on the first round of my contacts. And I sent you, as well as quite a few other people, I sent you a direct message in Google Messenger to, oh, I see you were on your iPhone. Was hooked in on my iPhone and on YouTube. Now here on my MacBook Pro. So thank you for joining me either way. I appreciate it. Just because you got here, I'm going to take another few minutes and talk. But Roz Bounty has been around for a long time now with me, and I appreciate her being around. All you people, actually. Andy and WeWake and Jay, you've been contributing greatly the last while, and also Barbara DeLuccio. So all of you are very valuable to me. Thank you for helping me out with this. I'm not actually doing this as a public broadcast on purpose. I do this literally to decompress, express myself. That's what this session is all about. And I don't have as many like rants going on today, and I don't have any complaints about what I'm finding in my email and so forth. It's not near as worrisome as it could be. And I'm in a pretty good mood today, so we'll see if I can wrap up the week. Tomorrow is going to be an interesting Smarties session. We are going to indeed come back again for part 2 of the NFC swag concept. And we're going to talk about NFC swag. And as progressing, the concept, the building blocks are coming together. And James Craddock will be joining me. He's bringing another technician that is dealing with the back end of the NFC swag concept. And I don't know what information that they might be bringing, but I know that the opportunities and the associations, affiliations that they are building right now are becoming very substantial. And you never know, I might become an NFC swag salesman, but right now that's a concept way in the back of my mind. And I most certainly won't try to be shoving it down your throats, everybody. But your opinion on what's going on and the use of it is very valuable to me. This is the testing ground for its use and application. And I'm literally in the near future going to be putting my money where my mouth is and investing in NFC swag to promote the Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties show. You're asking me, how the hell are you going to do that, Roland? You'll see. Because this is something I can promote my show, get my show out there, and get people watching the show, and maybe the Friday vlog or whatever. And watching these different things is going to promote my brand. And I'm not going to have to put a call to action at the end of every show where they have to buy something, which I'm strongly against anyway. Oh, by the way, hi everyone, says Ross. Yes, you bet. And I'm glad you guys get together. I'm glad you guys talk to each other. And it just reminds me that the interaction that we create, the opportunity that we create, bringing people like all of you together is very, very important to me. And that in general is my redefining of the word engagement. And that is what I'm trying to do with the Smarties show, is get people to talk about a subject, get people to contribute, talk about it to each other, give us in the green room something to respond to. And I love to be put on the spot, because if we can't answer it, then we are the ones lacking, right? And I'm glad to be put on the spot. I hope it doesn't become everybody's focus just to put me on the spot, because no doubt you're brainier than I am, and you will catch me. But if you have sincere concerns about what's being broadcast, or that is live cast or webcast, I want to hear about it so I can respond. And I really appreciate all that. So I think that's wrapping up my Friday vlog and my decompression expression session for the day. My favorite thing that happened today was I was in that interview today with Hollis Chapman. He was a very good interviewer, very good. And I'm trying to figure out, because I'm not that familiar with Blogspot, but I'm going to be pursuing the podcast accent of what I'm doing and repurposing a lot of my stuff. And I think I'm inclined right now to give Anchor a try. And I think that it might replace the concept of blog radio or Blogspot concepts. You never know, but maybe. So Roz has one more comment. At some point, when I get the idea of different time zones into my brain as an automatic, I know when so-and-so is awake, and I might be chatting with more people globally. It's a good idea, Roz. And if you don't worry about the time zone so much as think about the people that you want to come in contact with, contact them and ask them what the best times are, and you'll find out what they are. And I had to do that with WeWake and several people in Britain and across the world, but I found that the biggest challenge was from your area and the Far East. So that's about it for today. I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you very much for your comments. I'll continue to read the final ones after we close down here. But I'm going to end this stream, and my God, it's 50 minutes I've been on air. So we'll wrap it up and let you guys go. Thank you very much for joining me on the Friday vlog for the Marketing Smarties and Roland's Decompression Expression session. See you guys. Thank you very much.